Hey, it is Friday, February 21st, 2025. It is 11 a.m. right here on the West Coast, Pacific Standard Time. I am Brandon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps, where we, as a collective of small business owners, entrepreneur, in particular, martial arts school owners, try to figure out this thing called life. We want to run a profitable business. We want to run a business that works for us, provides us with the freedom that we believe we deserve to spend time with our family and be the visionary and architect of that business. But in order to do that, there's a certain skill set that accompanies that. So it's real important that we're able to achieve that goal, right? And once we recognize there's different hats that I wear, everything can change. I mean, I have a full-on relationship with ChatGPT because I do a lot of research for my clients, and it provides me with this unlimited resource. It feels like at times. I'm very well versed in Canva, and if you're not very well versed in Canva, I recommend it. Professional flyers, presentations, all those different things you need to best brand and communicate that brand message of your school. Things as basic as that. We use the CRM system of my studio. We use Market Muscles, and I spend a lot of time researching the stock market so I can understand how to invest. Somebody said that to me in a group call with Kin Creative yesterday that I was facilitating, and he said, he has 6 locations. They do about $3.4 million a year, which is really good, right? And it all came down to change. He said, if you don't make changes constantly in your business, tweaking, adjusting, then you will fail. Now, mind you, this guy's been in business 25 years. So there's something to be said about that. And I feel the same way. I was watching a Walt Disney documentary coming back from Canada, and Walt said, the work never ends. Never. There'll always be a new Disney character. There'll always be a new Disney movie. There'll always be a new ride to create. There'll always be a ride to refurbish, right? There'll always be something to update. He says it's never going to end. And that's the beautiful thing about it, right? If the work was going to be done and it was finished and done, what's the joy in that? When we love something, we constantly want to invest into it. So I'm really excited about today's show because I'm going to get to share with you how we have earned 100 students, 50 in San Francisco and 50 in Millbrae in the month of January of 2025. But let's thank our sponsors. Who do we have? We have Tucson, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All of these companies, all 6 of them, I work with and I work together in some capacity. Tucson, we get all our supplies from them, most of our uniforms and sparring gear and belts and things of that nature. Market Muscles, simply the best in website design. My Studio, cutting edge CRM system. If you're not using a CRM system and you're still using QuickBooks and pen and paper and Excel spreadsheets, I'm going to humbly encourage you to change that mindset. Kids Love Life Skills. If we're not running great life skills, a character development program in our school, and I do mean a systemized, not some hodgepodge made up off the cuff type system that we believe we're entitled to because we're simply black belts. I see that a lot, and I know I sound a little adamant. Do I sound jaded, Marco? Just a little bit, because I think I've put in, at this point, maybe 15,000 hours of research in developing Kids Love Life Skills over a decade, and it continues. It's never ending, never ending. So you need a trusted, systematic, proven life skill system in your school. And I would highly recommend Kids Love Life Skills. LC Accounting, great bookkeeping is a must. If you're going to outsource anything right away and spend money on outsourcing, please get a good bookkeeper. And LC Accounting can facilitate that. And of course, the new kid on the block in the industry, as well as who I am blessed to work with, Kin Creative, great digital media. I really didn't find the value in Facebook ads and things like that until the pandemic. And now, honestly, it's something I would never live without in maintaining, sustaining, growing our schools. Cool? All right. So as you're coming aboard, say hello, say hello, say hello. Anybody that's there, who do we have today? Oh, we got a couple people. Wow. We got Black Dragon. We got James Walker, Resilient Martial Arts. How you doing there, my brother? Black Dragon, Marty and Beth. James Walker, what's happening? What's happening. You know what's happening? Our It's Time group mentoring. Flash that up, Marco. They just got off the call. I come on once a month and I'm at a text away. You can ask Marty. I'm only one text away. It's a beautiful group because it's a co op. We find that it's the day to day grind that school owners need. It's not the one off once a week. It's not the module that you watch and go through. It's not the monthly Zoom call with me present. It is the day to day grind that I believe we're earning small school owners trust and confidence in because we're there. We're there. We're with them. So if you're looking for something unique and very different for what is offered in our industry to better your school and improve yourself, check out our It's Time group mentoring. Cool. And then what's coming up in November, Marco? Super proud. We're already have people booking November 8th through 11th. We have It's Time Live Freedom. And this one is going to be called Freedom because the big thing I enjoy about my success today, it provides me with the freedom to be at my kids' basketball games, soccer practice. The other day, my daughter's trying out for a new soccer team, high level, and just to be a silent support on the sideline, watching her practice, is powerful. It's super powerful. My son has a tryout next Wednesday with a whole new team, and he's petrified. They're at a whole nother level, and just to be his silent support system is worth its weight in gold. So it's Time Life Freedom, November 8th through 11th. As a dedicated, I don't say consultant. You saw me make that post, and I've gotten so much response. I can't tell you. And I'm not a consultant. I'm just like you. I'm just another schmo trying to figure out this thing called life. And I've been able to impact many, many schools. I was recently proud of Noah Seidel, Elevate Martial Arts. When he came to me, there were around 15 students, I think Noah said. And now, roughly under a year later, Noah is at 131. And that's really hard to do. And I'm very grateful to be able to mentor, stand side by side, figure it out. I just think consultant for me is not the best choice of words. So I choose not to use that today. Cool. All right. So let's get into this. And as you come aboard, say hello. Tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from. I love your questions. I love your feedback. Marco's ready to plug it in at any time. So we're discussing how did one martial arts earn 100 students in the month of January 2025, right? It doesn't happen in a day. It really is. If I could put it on two factors. Number one, we are not two. There's a lot of factors, and I'll get into those today. But the first one would be, I think we are a trusted business in the community, right? But trusted by itself and simply being there for 25 years is not enough. I think it's all the actions we've taken over those 25 years, all the students that have been through our door, right? What we've done to position our brand to earn us $2 million a year between two locations is pretty substantial. They would call us a unicorn. We're part of the 20% that earns the 80% in our industry, right? But that's what I'm sharing. If you've been around 25 years and you got less than 100 students, I don't know if your business has been that what you want it to be. I mean, just for the lack of a better word. I think Dave Kovar said that really well. That a guy said to him, I've been teaching for 40 years. And Dave said, well, my observation, you've been teaching 1 year 40 times, meaning to say there's never been updates to the curriculum. There's never been a facelift to their school. There's never been a rebranding. There's never been the writing of systems. There's never been creating long-term staff members. There's never been on and on, on and on. So when I say a big factor for these numbers are because we've been in the community for 25 years in San Francisco and 10 years in Millbrae. They're both selling anniversaries, is the way we've positioned the brand. Okay. I just had the Little League in Millbrae reach out and we'll donate a nice sizable amount to them and we'll impact that. And the fact that they can come to us year in and year out with a sense of trust and knowing that we're going to donate something substantial to a silent auction, or we're going to sponsor a Little League team, or you can count on us to volunteer at your e-waste event, on and on and on, gives them that confidence. So that's a drip down system, right? Like a tiered system. And when they move out of PTA president of an elementary school, they do not hesitate to tell the incoming president that, one martial arts is a giver. So I think that has been huge in those numbers we posted. Another one for us, of course, is what we were doing in the fourth quarter, right? I shared that in my Kin Creative group call yesterday. Is that in October, November, December to me are big kid centric months, right? Big kid centric months. And I'll break it down. So in October, we did all of our trunk or treats, right? I think we did four. And it culminated with the cotton candy in front of my house, giving out the same candy that we're like legendary for. And let me double back because I think this is important. We probably spend about $5,000 now on candy. I kid you not, from Costco. And my wife painstakingly, all by herself, because she chooses to do it. I've offered to hire, staff to do it. She separates all the candy. Twix, M&Ms, da 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 da. Every bag is equally balanced. It's a Ziploc Halloween bag, and it has a call to action. So when kids come up to our booth at a trunk or treat, again, the Disney experience, right, the memorable experience, they are overwhelmed when they get that bag of candy. They're just like, whoa. But we don't give them the bag of candy. They have to recite the first part of the focus live talk that we have. And the parents definitely videotaping this, social mediaing this, and then they break a board. And it's kind of nostalgic because they're wearing their Halloween costume. Then they get the bag of candy. So the experience of breaking a board is already just so cool. The life skill for the parent, which plants the seed for January, right, is so cool. And then they get this bag of candy. And of course, there's picture after picture after picture. There's a gathering of people watching this. There's a long line out of our booth. And when I cultivated that for our trunk or treat, well, I wouldn't even mention boards. We probably spend, $1,000 because we use real boards they can take home, right? I'm going to borrow Beth's idea. I just have never done it where we put a stamp on the board, right? And I think the stamp should have a QR code so they can scan that as well and sign up for a trial class. Ooh, you like that, Beth? I do. I think it's pretty cool. Hey, Virginia, what's happening? Who else is here? Tell me hello. Tell me that you're so that experience, because we have kids coming in January from that. Because the one thing we do understand is after October, we don't get a lot of signups in November and December, right? Because of the holidays and Thanksgiving and all that. January is always a big month for us. But I want to share the yin to the yang. I have a client in probably a not so affluent community, right? I would say middle to lower income. He saw only 3 new students in January. And I believe that's because people max out their credit cards in November and December buying gifts and everything. They hit January and it's like sticker shock. A lot of people will use their credit cards and run them up in December by default to make sure that Christmas is memorable for the kids and they have nice gifts. So that means in January, they don't sign up for more Schwartz. They're kind of like in a holding pattern, right? Budgeting to pay off those credit cards from December. And that's a fact. I mean, go do your homework. The research is out there everywhere. But that doesn't stop us from still mining and mining and mining and trying to find that gold nugget and get at least net 10, net 20 students in January, right? Okay, so that is very huge for us. Another one is in December, we have black belt testing. In December, we have, our quarterly belt testing. So everybody's, earning a new belt, plus our black belts. January 1, we have tuition increase, 4% every year. Cost of living, nothing changes. People know it. They know it. We promote it from, I think, October all the way through. But what does happen is the longtime students, which we never promote this, can buy a year paid in full. And if they do it with a check, then they save on credit card fees. We don't advertise it. It's kind of like that, burger animal style at In-N-Out Burger. It's not on the menu, but everybody knows about it. So we get a lot of that. So what's happening too with that 50 is you'll have just a handful whose memberships are expiring in January. So their old membership has them going out. The new membership has them coming in, right, as a new student. And in my studio, that's just the way it works. Okay, that's just the way that works. I'm going to disconnect this thing. Okay, so that's a big one too. Now, I think another thing that happens a lot for us in January, they're not counted as active students, but it definitely contributes to the income. We are promoting our day camps. Actually, I encourage you to start promoting your day camps on Black Friday, right? I witnessed that in working with kin, I cannot tell you how many day camps were coming across the wire with a call to action, right? Get a week free, $100 off, whatever. Some type of call to action and scarcity on Black Friday to get people to sign up for camps. So come January, we started running ads, which helped us push. Millbrae was like 130 something thousand, and I believe San Francisco was like 91 in January, because we also have people signing up for camps. So that's another big one. That's another big one. So this is something that isn't tangible, but I believe is very tangible. We're completely overhauling our curriculum once again. So I'm spending a lot of time reshooting new curriculum videos. Now I'm going to tell you, I used to pay a production company $20,000 a pop to shoot my curriculum videos. In today's day and age, you don't need to do that. I have a really good Canon SLR camera, which I videotape with. I have a really good Rode mic, and I have a couple really good lights and a decent background. And I'm able to create quality videos. And I think it cost me like, I don't know, $10,000 in camera equipment and lights and stuff. But what it allows us to do is confidently make curriculum changes without being locked in until the next time we can afford $20,000 to, you know, do new curriculum videos. So I think that's a big plus. We're almost in real time testing curriculum, making changes. I think I've shot Blue Stripe 16 four times already and have to go back and redo it. I think the big thing and why redoing our curriculum videos, if you currently have them, is I found during the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, we really understood how to utilize the camera to teach techniques efficiently and effectively. So much that, because we have mirrors in our school, when we're teaching curriculum now, we utilize that mirror as if it's a camera, like I have right now sitting on my computer. So it's been monumental in students' learning and comprehension. And then, of course, if it's a form and you do form in an H or you like a Pumze, right? You're doing different angles and your back is to the camera constantly, that's no longer an issue. We teach everything toward the camera and then we put it all together in class. So it makes a whole lot of sense. The kids are learning more efficiently. They're learning at a higher level. So I think that's a big contribution to what we're doing. Hey, Jason, what's happening, sir? Hey, if you're here, say hello. Josh. Hey, Josh. How is our Miss Charlotte? How is Miss Charlotte? So if you haven't revamped your curriculum videos since the pandemic, please go do it. We're doing it 3 months at a time because it's a daunting project. But you know what? It's really manageable. When I did the last round of curriculum videos was 7 years ago. I did them every night from 9 p.m. to 6 in the morning because we didn't want it to conflict with class time. And I did that for 3 days in a row because we flew the guy out from Michigan. 3 days, I was so burnt. It was so tiring. And of course, at 5 in the morning, you start making goofy mistakes that you wouldn't make. Now, I leisurely go in, set things up, shoot the videos I need, and go home. And it's so much more manageable. And we're able to look at videos. And at first, I was a little bent out of shape because I had shot the video, and the guys go, "Well, that's not right. It needs to be like this." Now I have no challenge. I just want to produce the best curriculum videos because I believe that's going to help our retention, right? What good is it to get 100 new students, 50 at each location, if they're going out the back door just as quick? So the newer curriculum videos, the updated curriculum, especially around year one, we're really dialed that in and just teaching this quarter of year one curriculum. Hallelujah, man. It's night and day. The instructors are happier. They're more engaged. We have plenty of time to drill a technique 50 different ways. And it's not simply memorization. And that's very stressful to kids. We want them to be more efficient and proficient, not just simply memorizing a bunch of information, right? So I think that is a big contributing factor. Now, another big one for us is the momentum of our Excellent Kids programs, right? Excellent Kids was originally a program for our 4 to 6 year olds where the parents would come on the last 5 minutes of the class and do a couple of drills with the kids. But during the pandemic, we could not get a 4-year-old at Zoom. So the parent was shelter in place anyways. So we invited the parent into the classroom online. and it did really, really well. I think we did $1.2 million the first year of the pandemic, which is a lot just for the virtual portion, right? Didn't include private lessons, distance learning camp, all those different things. Did not include those. Did not include those. But for online learning, we felt that was pretty substantial. And then I figured when we went to the parking lots and the farmers market, right, when we're allowed to teach outdoors, that this would die. It didn't die. It actually got bigger. Wow. Okay. And then we moved indoors. I figured it's going to die. No parent wants to spend 40 minutes on the floor with their kid. It didn't die. It got bigger. And today it's one of our more robust programs that we offer in our locations. So I'm very proud of it, but it's a full parenting class. Are you going to have that parent that doesn't like it? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's okay. That's okay. Some people like potatoes, some people like tomatoes, right? And that part's okay. But we've built this very unique environment. And as I watch the trials come through our door, I would say out of 100% of the trials coming through the door, probably 40% are excellent kids. And again, I think this is valuable because if we get them at a young age, before soccer and basketball and all the rest, they're more likely to invest in you or keep it part of their children's development, even as they negotiate other activities. Okay. Conrad. Hey, Conrad. What's happening, my brother? Who else is here? If anybody's on watching the show, please tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from. And this is to me a great show because I'm really sharing you some of my deep cultural beliefs on how we do what we do. Okay, so now Excellent Kids is becoming this huge program for us. I'm now visiting doing a welcoming binder again. Not a binder, a nice folder. And in this folder, we'll have all 12 life skills. And the reason I think that's a good idea, right now we have 12 badges on one sheet we hand to the parent. But the impact of all 12 student parent discovery sheets in this folder might inspire that parent. I want to do 12, I want to at least do 3 months here. Right? Let me do a complete cycle. Right? If we get them through the 12 weeks, I believe we can get them longer. So it's going to have that. It's going to enable them to, which I think is also another big reason we're getting more students, is because, hey, Chris, what's up, Chris? Chris Cameron, how are you, sir? From New Zealand. Hey, Chris, it's good to see you here, sir. Good to see you. And so, also in that welcoming kit, which is going to be branded really well, we're going to really put front and center. Can we give you $50? If you refer somebody and they sign up, right, they're going to get $50 off their next month tuition. More reason to stay a month longer, right? And they have that ability to earn money for referring people. So we've really started to reposition our referral program. It's something I don't believe you should ask right away. A lot of people will say, hey, if you like what we do, give us a review. I've only been here for a week. Why are you doing that? Right? I believe strategically, at least 3 months out, you ask for a review. I think the referral thing can happen right away, right? That can happen right away in your email flow, in your text messaging, or in this case, the welcoming folder. Because we know communication is very important to building a culture. So, yeah, I want to do it electronically. Yeah, I want to do it through email. Yeah, I want to do it through hard copy. All three, I really, really want to be mindful of and push that. So, a new welcoming folder is coming in. We're even going to have t-shirts for our parents to wear so they feel like they're more part of the team. And all of that, again, is storyboarding that I learned taking Disney business courses. The storyboard of, hey, I got my, excellent parent t-shirt on. Let's get your uniform. Let's go. Right. It creates more of that team bond. That's part of the story. That's part of the narrative. The welcoming binder, I see it. When people hit a second cycle, everybody's peeling off the badge, right, from the Excellent Kids worksheet and the stripe, and they don't need the handout anymore. So again, all this is the culmination. So Excellent Kids and the referral program, I think, is also contributing. We have a lot of momentum for Excellent Kids right now. A lot of momentum. So I think that's contributing. As I shared, about 40% of our trials are Excellent Kids right now, which I'm really proud of. Again, who'da thunk? It was born out of the pandemic. Who'da thunk, right? Who'da thunk? So I think that's a big factor as well. Now, if you have a question, put it in the comments, please. I'm happy to answer. I'm just really grateful. Everybody here that's on, I can say I love you and I know you. And that's pretty freaking cool, right? But if there's somebody new, please tell us your name, tell us where you're tuning in from, and that would be really, really cool. Really cool. I know pretty soon Ralph will be here from Switzerland, right? And it's so cool to have friends all over the world now because of my love of martial arts, and even more so my love of wanting to serve you. I mean, I posted that post of me in the suit and and the story that I wrote behind it, and the response has been overwhelming. I can tell you, people have DM'd me and reached out to me personally talking about that, and that was an honest commitment. I decided to leave that arena, the dog and pony show, because I knew I wasn't doing my best work there, and I needed to do better work. And it was fun talking about stocks and investments and boats and cars, but when the day's done, I want to impact this industry, and that's truly what I want to do, right? Truly. So that's a whole nother show, but we can get into that. Hey, Virginia. Let's see Virginia's question. Marco, is that a question? Regarding EK, are you coming out with the new lesson plans? Yes, I have them. I have all 12 lesson plans, Virginia. All of them. All of them. Um, the challenge is TJ corrected me several times, and finally I nailed him yesterday in our meeting. I said, tell me the format. He's not happy with the formatting. He says an instructor can't look at it and reference it and be able to follow along and teach it. He wants it. And TJ's, that's his thing, his outline. So I finally got it nailed down yesterday. And all I need to do, honestly, is throw each lesson plan into ChatGPT, tell him to reformat it. Don't change my language, just reformat it. And then I will preview every drill. And I've written tons of new drills too. And beyond that, we're going to have a season 2 and 3. So every 12 weeks, you can do a different cycle. Oh, but I remember in your school, you do one stripe a month, one stripe every 2 weeks, right? For excellent kids. So, no matter how you slice or dice it, yes, absolutely. And what I'm going to do, because I want to make sure it's accurate and efficient, the first group of people that actually become, I don't know, providers who are going to teach this version of Excellent Kids, I'm going to personally train you myself. Yep, that's what I want to do. It'll allow me to get some good video footage, good things I can transcribe, and use to promote the culture of Excellent Kids. But it's just, look at all the footage I post. I'm just enthralled. I sit there sometimes looking around the room on a Saturday. It's like, what's going on here? And same thing on Tuesdays and Thursdays now. It's pretty amazing, and I feel extremely blessed, extremely blessed. To be in that position. So EK has a lot to do with that. The referral program has a lot to do with that. Again, scheduling wise, I don't know if I shared this, bell testing happens every quarter. So in December, we have a lot of people bell testing. We have black belts every quarter. So there's a black belt testing in December. So a lot of them are also renewing, right? They're renewing for a new tuition investment, as we call it. We don't call it memberships. We used to call it tuition plan. Now we call it your tuition investment. And we really want to culturally get parents to look at us not as an extracurricular activity like soccer or something of that nature. We want them to genuinely view us as a investment for their child's personal development and future. Keywords that I would encourage you to incorporate into your website. You should incorporate into your trial, right? One of the fundamental things we do in a trial is we teach a child to stand at attention. And we tell them, this is your first line of self-defense, because who is the bully going to bother? The person who stands up tall like this with confidence, or the child who walks around with his head down like this? Of course, it's a no-brainer. The kid will say number one. And then we follow that with, and when you walk into a school like Stanford or Harvard for the interview for the full scholarship, could you please stand like this? And the kid looks at you befuddled. Then you turn to the parent and you say, and this is why. It begins right now. And this is why parents view us as a tuition investment for their child's personal development and future. If you want to plant seeds for retention, that's it right there. So again, if you are going to adopt tuition investment, it should be on your hard copy handout, right? Take away the word membership anywhere at your website. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb, take out the word membership. Planet Fitness is a $10 a month membership. I do not want to associate myself with the word membership at all. So go through your website, take down any old social media posts, start cultivating social media posts of why martial arts is the best investment for their child, right? And then tell that narrative, tell that story, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there. Um, do I think it's instrumental to why we can charge $269 a month? Absolutely. Absolutely, it is, right? And then if I take this amazing trial where you're talking about tuition investment and you're talking about that child's future when they interview for the full scholarship at Harvard, right? Everything changes. Everything changes. And of course, they're earning the Kids Love Life Skills badges to support that. So all of that, let's kind of go through the checklist. We talked about all the October event. We didn't even get into the holiday party in December. All the kid-centric events we do in October, November, December. October is what? Bully confidence building, right? So you have that, right? So we have that going on. November for us is all about gratitude and Thanksgiving, and we're heavy in the community. Everybody and their mother wants our cotton candy machine during the month of November. Everything's back to school night, this, sports fundraiser, everything's just boom, with the elementary, middle, and high schools. So we're at every kid-centric event we could possibly be at. Then, of course, December, we have our annual holiday party, right? As well as tuition increase, as well as new videos, as well as black belt testing, as well as, testing month in the school. So by the time we hit January, internally, culturally, there's this buzz. We're vibing at such a high level that organically we retain higher. We don't have as many people leave, right? So, and again, no one's signing up. So we don't have people on 1 month from November, December quitting. They usually hold off until January, right? January. And then we also talked about the curriculum videos. We talked about updating the curriculum. We talked about the referral system. We talked about excellent kids. We talked about all the silent auctions that are reaching out to us. As soon as we commit to this little league baseball, it's instant. Our logo goes up at their website, right? It's instantaneous. It's no longer waiting, until the season begins. So for me, that's really, really good marketing. Because as I've shared from Gary Vee, nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. So by positioning my business as a business that cares, as a business that gives back, has allowed us to create this legacy business. And I think that's really important. The behavior we exhibit, the brand that we've created, has lasted 25 years in San Francisco, and we're celebrating our 10th anniversary in Millbrae. Easy to get to the top of the mountain. Staying there is harder. And with the exception of the pandemic, we've always done close to $2 million, if not above. And that's really hard to do, but that requires change, a lot of change. My wife was discussing that. Now that she's not PTA president in the elementary school, she believes it's going to be harder for us to have relationships. Well, we just did the birthday party of a 7-year-old boy whose mom is the PTA president of our local elementary school, right? Green Hills. Guess who did his birthday party? Take a wild guess. Guess who did his birthday party? Anybody? Nobody? Come on. And if you have a question, please post it in there. Today we're talking about how we've earned, 100 students in the month of January, but I'm open. I'm open. I'm open. Yep. Anybody? Guess who did this kid's birthday party? And a lot of people here today. Hey, Bob. God, I didn't see Bob. I should have known Bob was the first one here. Bob, Pool of Goals, Martial Arts. Yep, you're right, Miss Virginia. It was me. I'm teaching a lot right now again. Default for 2 reasons. One, Lucas is on paternity leave, right? He had a baby. Two, one of our staff had a brain tumor. Fortunately, it wasn't cancerous or anything, but they had to get it. You know what? We've had 2 guys with brain tumors in the past 3 years. Who'd have thunk? But it is what it is. So that day, that Saturday, I taught classes from 9 to 1, and then I did this young man's birthday party. The impact of me doing his birthday party, monumental. So when we have discussions about helping promote our after school program, when we have discussions about promoting our day camps, I think that door's a little more open than not, right? Than not. And this boy takes karate at our school. So it's all a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm. So again, God works in mysterious ways, but being able to teach more is allowing me to test this curriculum in real time. We had a discussion, and this was very humbling, when the guy said to me, we were discussing a technique we were going to teach, and I had a stance on it. And we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And finally, what it all came down to, their only reply to me was, "We teach this every day. I believe we know better than you." Oh man, that was messed up, right? That was messed up. But it has some truth, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It does. It definitely has some truth because they are actively teaching more than I am. So now nobody can say that. I even asked for an extra day because I want to make sure this next round of curriculum is on point, right? It's so on point that the team enjoys teaching it, the students enjoy learning it, and we are seeing success. That's very, very important, right? They're not like us. They didn't train 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, tournaments every other weekend. They are not like us. They are not like us, right? In the words of Kendrick Lamar, right? They're not like us. It's the same thing here. And once we recognize that and that we are here to serve, then we started cultivating curriculum that we believe, is more balanced. God, we've whittled down the forms that we do. We teach the forms more effectively. If one technique is just not age or skill level appropriate, we're not afraid to take that one technique out of a form, you know, or a three-step self-defense move. We're not afraid to do that because they'll get it eventually. Does it matter if they get it in year 1 or year 4? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I do. I challenge Kenpo people when they say I've watered it down. No, I've done it. I've just rearranged it to where it's palatable and has a chronological order and has a progression. There's not a progression in some martial arts. It's like, why are we doing that form? That form is really freaking hard. And then you do something at black belt, which is like white belt technique, right? There was no rhyme or reason back then. And today that's changed a lot. Chris has a question. Can we put it in? Curriculum adjustments. We see a lot of pushback from parents as things are introduced or shifted. And that's cool, right? We have people testing for black belt in April that are squawking that the new curriculum they're seeing is much easier. That's okay. As long as we share culturally from day one when they enrolled as a white belt, that our goal is to offer the most relevant curriculum possible, and you put it in your social media post and it's there at your website, and you boast about it in the trial and you share it every time in class. Maybe we used to do the technique this way, but we're doing it this way now because it's more powerful. I think culturally, Chris, there's going to be a certain amount of percentage of parents that don't want anything to change. They don't. Or they become a victim. Well, we didn't get to do that. It was so much harder. And when they say that, it was so much harder, I say, good for you. Good for you. Right? I don't look at it as I'm a victim because my dad did some crazy stuff in my black belt test. I look at it as that was the opportunity then. But the way children learn today, the needs they have today are totally different. Right? We know that just the mental health of today's young person is being totally jeopardized in so many ways, more than ever, more than ever. So some days I'm not concerned about physical self defense. I'm concerned about emotional self defense, mental self defense, right? We all say that. I'm a little older. Kids aren't tough anymore. When we grew up there, kids had more resilience. Okay. Now we can either bitch about that, or we can look at it as educators and go, it's our duty to cultivate curriculum that's going to help them mentally be strong, right? And there is a physical component. There's all of it. There's all of it. So for me, I really want to be mindful of that. I want to be extremely mindful of that. So yeah, Chris, and if I have that parent that's toxic and they're talking shit all over the waiting area, and doing that, I'll pull them aside with all humility. I don't even keep an office in our schools anymore, Chris, but I'll take them into a back quiet area and I kneel in Saison. So I'm looking up at them. And I've encouraged this to my team because you want to put a parent in a defensive position, sit above them, looking down at them, right? You look down at them like, "Rrr." If anything, I want eye to eye, equal level, or I sit in Saison and sit them on a bench and have that type of discussion. I think the big thing about that is nobody likes change. And as a level 5 leader, Chris, right, I'm always trying to cultivate that type of emotional intelligence that's going to serve me better. And I have a 16-year-old right now and a 13-year-old. Talk about emotional intelligence. Oh man, I need a lot. I need a lot. There's days, my son's 16 and he's going through the hormones and all that crazy stuff. I'll ask him the simplest question. How was basketball practice today? It was fine. It's like, dude, take it down a couple levels. You know? Did you have a fun time at the dance? It was all right. Like, oh, okay. You can't take that stuff personally. So often I have to look at that challenging parent like that as we're shifting things and treat it like that, sir. And I would recommend it to you because your commitment to changing your curriculum, Chris, should never be wavered by any any amount of people's uh, being disgruntled towards those change. Right? It's their uncertainty. So when somebody's uncertain, and I'm going to share this was really important. When I went to speak at Meta, it was about leadership post pandemic, right? It was a global, we had people at Zoom. And I said, I was told by the management going into the door that we are a startup with 80,000 people. Because at the time, Meta, when they changed the name to Meta, they were leaning heavily into the whole metaverse thing. Of course, they pivoted into AI, and it's a different conversation now, right? They still have their VR and all that, but you get where I'm going with that. So when I went in there and I'm speaking to these leaders from all over the world from Meta, you know what I told them? We're in totally uncertain times, right? We're coming out of a pandemic. Let's talk about being in such uncertainty. And that's where people's mindset they feel very unsure. And now we're moving into the metaverse. We have no idea where this is going to take our company, right? I said, but the one thing we do know are the relationships. We do trust the relationships we have with the people that have been on our team before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and after the pandemic. So really, I sat there and I was cultivating a skill set, empathy, tolerance, patience. I was leaning into life skills that would facilitate that because there's no way they were not heading in that direction at that time. That's where Facebook wanted to go. Change the name to Meta, leaning into the metaverse, right? That's what was going on. So it's the same thing here, Chris. The parents that are disgruntled, the one thing they can count on is your great instruction, the culture that you offer, all those other things. So while they're, you know, looking at that uncertainty of the curriculum change and maybe even being, you know, um, defiant to those changes, what you can always anchor that conversation in is the relationship you have with them personally, right? Don't discount. And that's what I said to the people, all these leaders from Meta. I said, don't discount. You guys got these great, amazing relationships. Lean into those during the uncertainty of this time. Cool? Yeah, everybody with me? Yeah, I hope that answers that question, Chris. Great question. Great question. So, for everybody coming aboard, put your name in there. Tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from. This is one I would watch again and again and again and again. Again and again and again. Because it's not just January with 100 students, 50 at each location. What I try to share with people passionately, it's a behavior. It's a behavior that we exhibit day in and day out, on the mat, off the mat, in the waiting area, in every stripe testing, every conversation with a parent, every social media post, in our Google business page, at our website. I am constantly cleaning stuff up. I'm still cleaning up my Market Muscles website and making sure every word, every language in there resonates. And now with the advent of ChatGPT, I can take one section of that website, say it's the first paragraph of the kids' landing page. I will throw it in ChatGPT, who knows Brannon really well, every article I've written, every video I've ever made, all of my Facebook social media at both One Martial Arts and my personal, I will tell it. Take out any words that are adverse to Brandon's culture of One Martial Arts. Write it in the same tone using 99% of Brandon's phrasings and words from his blogs, right? How easy. ChatGPT always grabs my blogs. If you Google right now, martial arts blog, you'll find One Martial Arts is at the top of that list. You know what that does for our credibility? Huge, huge. And that's what leads me into that. I think the other thing, I know you just want to hear we ran this really slick ad and got 100 students, right? That's what you want to hear. But that's not it. That's not it. You want to put a bad restaurant out of business? Give them great marketing. I'd love to give all the credit to Kin, but it's not. It's a culmination of referrals. It's a culmination of Kin. It's a culmination of all the events we did in the fourth quarter. It's a culmination of being a trusted business for 25 years that gives back to the community in San Francisco, 10 in Millbrae, right? It's a culmination of our commitment to bettering our curriculum and updating it. And now that I have camera equipment, I shoot all the time. I can't believe I've shot that one stripe 4 times in just a matter of weeks. But it's that commitment, right? To what? What's our brand, everybody? Live your best life. To live your best life, we have to constantly update our curriculum. Constantly, Chris. And, leaning into your why, what would you tell that parent based upon your why? Come on. I know what I'm going to say, but let's see if you can throw something in there, Chris. Based upon your brand and your why, what is a cultural answer you could offer that parent that would make them feel warm and fuzzy and get on board with it? Put that in there. Okay? Put it in there. And while Chris is doing that, if you guys have any questions, put them in. Put them in. Put them in. Put them in. So, what else do I think contributes to that? Our social media. I'm a beast, and I know it can be better. If your website and your Google landing page and your reviews and everything are not dynamic, I'm going to challenge you on that. If I go to your Google business page and your last review was 5 years ago, that is not it. That is not it. Google does not favor 100 reviews and the last one was 5 years ago. You need to constantly mine that and get new reviews and update that. You're always adding pictures to your Google business page. You're always adding, when we're open, when we're closed. We just finished President's Day. Hey, we're open for regular classes. You're always posting videos or some kind of offer. That's a done day. That should constantly be happening for you. Okay? So, then that better connect to your website and that better connect to every social media post that you offer. Now, this black beanie thing grew out of one night I did during the pandemic. I did my show on a Sunday night. I used to do it on the weekend outdoors. It was cold and I wore a black beanie and I had to sit by a lantern and it looked like I was this floating head. Does anybody remember that? So out of that came the black beanie. Now, what it's done for me, it's somewhat of an alter ego, right? Brannon, the anti-consultant, the disruptor, right? The rebel in the martial arts industry. It's very befitting, but it totally separates me, which it should, from Brannon, the martial arts school owner. I would never wear this in a class. I would never wear this in a social media post for One Martial Arts. Never, ever, never, ever, ever, ever. But so it really allows me to separate that visually from each other. And it was purely an accident. I would love to tell you I'm this really smart, intelligent guy, but I'm not. It was purely accidental. It was cold outside, and I got so much attention from that floating head. I've even thought about replicating it, making everything black, and all you see is my face, right? Potentially. Chris, go ahead. Let's see what Chris has got for me. With top educators, always look to evaluate and evolve, improving, refining techniques so students feel more confident and more empowered. Okay, but tell me the name of your school, Chris. I know it, but I want you to type it in there for everybody. Put the name of your school in there. Put it in there. Put it in there. So going into that separation of state and and the people, that's where that came from. That's where that came from. And now it's allowed me to create this alter image. And everywhere I move, people know me by the black beanie, right? Right? Okay. Shizaku martial arts. What does that mean, Chris? Tell me what that means. Tell me what Shizaku means. So everybody knows. Put it in there. So again, as we're learning from today's talk, it's not just Facebook ads, right? It is not just Facebook ads. I say it all the time. It's not the little things that matter, it's everything that matters. Everything matters in your business, right? So we are um not encouraged. I understand I wear a lot of hats in my business. So I spend a lot of time tribe, family, clan. Okay? So, here we go. As a family-centric business, just like with our children, we constantly want to empower them. In order to do that, we want to make sure that we're offering our children the most relevant, but rooted in strong morals and values that make our family who we are, right? To provide them with a curriculum that does just that. See? So I like what you said, Chris, but I want to take it and root it in the family, the tribe, the clan. Tie it into that, and you have a perfect go to that you can share with your parents, that you can train your team on to say, why all these curriculum changes? Well, ma'am, here we're all about family, right? And you're a parent. My 17-year-olds can say this, by the way. And you're a parent. So we want to empower our children, right? And that means we have to constantly make sure that what we do is relevant. We want to make sure that they're comprehending and they're learning and they feel empowered with everything that we teach them. How's that sound to you, right? You see? So again, it just sometimes we get caught off guard, and I got it because we're making changes right now and getting pushback, Chris. Oh, that's not the same video that was there a week ago. No, it's not. No, it's not. We had a simple thing yesterday. TJ and I are working. We have a block that goes like this, right? And we were teaching it for many years like this. You make a load and then you block. And then we tested it. If my hands are up like this and I just block, that's just as freaking powerful. I don't need to load that block, right? So it eliminates a step. And I have to go back and shoot videos again for the same darn thing. I'm cool with it because I really believe this new, again, change, right, Chris? Change. Instead of waiting every 7 years and spending $20,000, on a production company to shoot these videos, we are producing videos better now. Better now. They look just as good because I invested in the right equipment as this guy who had $20,000. And I got Marco to author them for me. And the titles look great. I would put any of this guy's $20,000 videos that he did for us up against what we're doing now. And they're of equal production value. So there's a prime example. We're going through that too right now, Chris. We're getting some pushback because kids are preparing for their black belt test in April and they're bitching and squawking. How come we got to do all of that and these next guys don't have to? Well, you guys are great. You guys are lucky, right? You guys are very, very lucky that you get to do that, right? You get to do that. So I think that's a value too. And believe me, when they look at my black belt test at YouTube, they don't want to do what I did. No freaking way. No freaking way. Right? Take a look at it. It's there. Look at my black belt test. It's there from 1979. And there's half the parents who look at that. They look at that today going, oh man. Right? So again, and that's really what it's about. As you're looking at all of this, you're seeing that I have a very clear vision for what I do. Live your best life. One martial arts. We're a service based business. I'm huge on giving back. I give back way beyond what I'm paid for in the martial arts industry. I give way back beyond of what I accumulate within these businesses. But I take what I do make and I invest it mindfully. So I have a good retirement for me and my wife. I'm able to take care of my kids through college and provide them with opportunities that growing up poor like I did, I never had. So again, that yin yang. The law of attraction is based upon the law of abundance. I attract people in my space because I give with a sense of abundance. I'm not a hoarder. I don't sit there and act like, what's in it for me? What do I get out of it? All of that. I'm always positioning myself that my cup runneth over. I do it in my business. I do it with my team. I know my guys are some of the highest paid in the industry. I'm happy to do that. Maybe that's why they've been with me 15 years. Maybe that's why my key guys own homes. Maybe that's the reason why, they can invest mindfully because I've created that. I've created that. And so again, if people simply buy from you folks, it's a transaction, right? I don't need to have a full-on relationship with whatever barista is sitting in Starbucks, which they change all the time, because I don't have, all I care is this is my expectation for your $6 cup of coffee. But I have my own organic coffee and I don't drink there anymore. Unless I'm on vacation, I have no choice. But what I'm really passionate about, and I believe this is the other reason why, when we mindfully produce ads through Kin, which I write all the copy now for all the school owners that we work with. I write 190% of it, I would say. I work closely with the creative team, and that's why we call it Kin Creative. It's really about creating stories. I'm not selling you mushroom coffee or a weight loss drug. And that's why studying a lot of the Facebook ads and practices, I think is a huge disconnect for us because I'm not selling you a weight loss drug. I'm going to drop ship. I'm encouraging you to invest into a service that is impactful, that can help your child or yourself live your best life. You with me? So that's why you'll often hear me say repeatedly, folks, I don't want a lead. I don't want a trial. I don't want a student. I want a relationship. Because if you have a relationship, people believe in you. They believe in the culture of your school. They believe in the why of your brand. The core values, maybe family is one of them, resonates with them at a heart level. And this is the byproduct. And I don't mean to trivialize what I just said. But if people believe in what you do, they spend a lot of money with you. Not a little. They spend a lot of money. And that's powerful, right? Because it's not just a transaction. I could take it or leave it. And that's why we're spending so much time revamping the day 1 to 18-month experience. Because if the attrition rate between 0 and 18 months is still the biggest in our industry, and it's always been that way. You might find 1 or 2 unicorn schools, but across the board, the majority of our attrition rate is 0 to 18 months. So if we can better that relationship, invest deeper in that relationship between 0 and 18 months, then that kid will really be impacted as they earn a black belt and they stay with you longer. And it increases your bottom line. I mean, it's just such a win-win, but we have to stop looking at people as a lead or a trial, right? Or a new student. I genuinely want to invest in relationships. So even right down to that culturally, right? Culturally, I would never call anybody a student. They come into class, we have a new friend joining us. You read our e-newsletters, our emails, it says, dear friends and family, right? You're friends and you're our family. So individually, you're a friend. As a group, we're a family. So again, we're mindful of that. I'll even say that constantly. Hey, my little friend, how are you today? Right? Oh, we have a new friend joining us in class, right? Hello, my friend. How are you, sir? Right? We're mining that and creating that culturally. Because if people believe in what you do, everything changes. Everything. So that's a lot to take in today, isn't it? All right. So help me out. Give me your big takeaways. Give me your takeaways. Give me your big takeaways because we are out of time. And while you put your takeaways in there, Marco, let's share them. Our It's Time group mentoring. I'm proud of Marco and Monique and Jason. We've spent a year cultivating this this environment, so we haven't pushed it hard. I will start running Facebook ads shortly. What they've done is they've each developed their own voice. And that was important to me, that they simply just didn't regurgitate Brandon rhetoric. Why would I have a group if I simply wanted them to be minions? I do not. And that's taken a little time. I want Jason, Monique, Marco, they all have their voice. They have their own unique skill set. And so this group environment that we've cultivated really puts us in your back pocket 24/7, 365 every day. Because it's the day-to-day grind that you need us, not a one-off, right, at the end of every month in a mastermind call. So that's what I think makes it truly special. And that's who we are today. If you're interested in that, just DM Marco. Of course, it's Time Life Freedom is coming up. Only 20 school owners. Everyone sells out, and every one is unique and different. And this one, is entitled Freedom. I believe the business you create should offer you that freedom that you deserve. Cool. And that's coming up. Put the link for that, Marco. It's already starting to book. Yep. Because success is something you plan for, and people are starting to book up. Only 20 school owners. That's it. Let me thank my sponsors, Tusaw, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All people that I work with personally, all people that impact my business, and more importantly, people I believe in. I don't just pay them, I believe in them, right? And they are the sponsors of this show. So I want to thank everybody, please. Chris, all the way, from New Zealand. We've got people from all over the country. I even think we have, I don't know if Ralph made it from Switzerland. He might be here. But I'm super grateful that everybody chose to be here. Your time is valuable. And there's so many sources in this industry that you could draw from. And the fact that you choose to share some time with me inspires me to continue to do the good work that I do. Cool. So what do you got to do? You got to subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which has the podcast Success Never Sleeps. You can also go to any major podcast platform, as you see there. Subscribe to the podcast Success Never Sleeps. Follow me at Instagram. Join our Disruptor group at Facebook or the Success Never Sleeps group. And definitely tell somebody. We want to grow this movement. I'm always about growing this movement, that there's a new way to do business. And that way to do business is yours. And I think what I take most pride on is helping you discover your voice, helping you cultivate your message and brand so that it works for you. Because if you don't believe in it, it's not going to work. It's never going to work, right? But if you can't monetize that brand and take it to a level of profitability that works for your personal goals and dreams, then that's a challenge too, right? So I want to be very mindful of that. Cool. All right. So thank you, everybody. I am Brandon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, what are you going to go out there and do? Live your best life. See you later.